That I've always liked that series of the riders and the horses and riding in long grass. So it was great to have that. And yeah, it was interesting. That work, I've talked about that before, but you know, the notion of the kind of the animation of the figure and the way the figure's pushing out to all four corners of it, that's sort of so, there's this thing about the immediacy of the experience of looking at your work. You kind of put people into that scene so that you're standing there looking at them and suddenly this happens.
Well, I did try and sort of have the God complex looking down on top.
Well, you gave me these images before, but this one here, you know,
yes.
there it is. There's that horse's head kind of, you know, don't stand too close because he's going to poke you. And that notion of the immediacy of the moment with your work is something that's there right through. I think it's a really strong part of it. You know, right back to the garden paintings. You try and walk into those garden paintings. Those paintings are also, they're coming out at you.
Yeah.
It's that modernist idea, isn't it, of instead of looking into the picture with the landscape, the surface is actually pushing.
You're actually in the landscape.
Yeah, you're part of it, part of that experience. It's sort of, it's interesting. Yeah, it's descriptive, but it's actually a reality that you're sharing the space with, which is,
yes,
you know.
rather than just a picture of me, a little figure in the middle of a painting riding along.
Yeah.
This is actually pretty important.
It's coming at you.
And
that's there, I think, too, in most of the work. Well, but in a lot of the works too, because you've got, I mean, this one here to the riding in long grass one. So you've got this thing of everything is pushing at the top, the bottom, the left, or right. It's like trying to, you know, get out of the picture plane, and it has a real, again, it's that immediacy and a very dynamic, engaging image.
Yeah, it took a while to
Well, I'm just thinking, you know, you look at the Lego trucks and the pictures at an exhibition, Mazursky, all of those are characterised by these figures and creatures and objects which are they're right there with you. Yeah, I mean, for me, when I saw these books, I mean, there's 49 of them over 1 year. Over 1 year. Actually, I've got one. This one here. I think I'll go with this one. One of the things about them is, for me, as I was saying, I felt like I could not suddenly, but for me, it was sort of a bit of a light bulb going off, and I started thinking about your work, and I mean, this is a really, you know, this is the other thing too. These books, the way in which they were books and then they became these standalone works. I mean, this is, you know, there's something nice and there's something quite innocent and spontaneous about this, and beautiful colours, but there's still something very uncomfortable about the figure and the face, and you know, it's not telling you to just enjoy the colour and the paint, but also to try and you can't work out exactly the detail of the figures and the faces and what's going on with them, but it's not necessarily all you put pins and things and going into them. So
pins and stuff.
Yeah, so there's quite a lot of violence in the work. I'm thinking actually in terms of the violence is that the cutting.
Well, I do see people as violent.
And axing and cutting and things going on.
Yeah, I do see people. Mostly our good manners erase that, but it doesn't take long to.
But it's in a way in that you're participating with these figures and these characters, and at the same time, it's almost a deception. You draw people in with the colour and the animation and the movement of them, and then you start seeing other things going on in them. Is this all okay?
Yeah, it's fine. And there's another one underneath here.
Yeah, so they have something very. This is amazing, isn't it? So they're quite something childlike and uplifting and kind of fun as well.
Yes,
but there's these big. This is interesting, isn't it? We've got all these knives floating all the way through these ones.
Yeah, a lot of knives.
Yeah. So that there's something about them that there's childlike, but something actually completely not childlike and innocent at all, but in fact malevolent. So this started with Bosch, did it? You were looking
It
at.
started off with a whole lot of.
It's a really striking one.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you can see my lines that I did later on in the hoovering ones.
Yeah.
It took a while. I did drawings of Bosch. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
So that was it. That was the moment when I was looking at these and thinking, this isn't just about expressionist painting, or
No.
it's not about just colour either, but it's about something.
Yes, people have commented, why haven't I transmitted these into bigger works? And in a way I have, but remember the one with the guns.
Oh right, yeah.
But they're not painted like that, though. But there were weapons and that, knives and guns. And the one that the Christchurch Gallery took, remember the one with the knife with the skull on the top?
Yep, yeah.
So that's the closest I've got, but it's a totally different image.
I mean, this here with the figure with the creature on its face is, it's all there, isn't it?
Yeah, well that's right out of Bosch, but it's my face, the African mask I got in New York. These are letters to oneself, really.
Yeah. And actually, I think on my feelings, I was at the book nature of them. That's what they are.
They're trade aid hand paper.
Yeah.
And the paper encourages you to draw because it's just bliss. You make a mark and it just goes woof.
Yeah.
One line. You can see Paul Clay. Oh yes, look at this one line. Woof.
Yeah.
Don't need to do another thing, and then you turn over, and you can control that because sometimes it goes into the next page, and that gives you a sort of an authority to use the next page. But I found that the marks left from the previous drawing, and sometimes they were so strong I just left the copy, if you like, on the next page, and I just accepted that as it was.
I mean, it's been interesting looking at your work because, for me, these books that you did, for me, these were kind of a way in which, for me, and they're on a much smaller scale, but they're a way in which I feel like I finally, if it's possible, sort of made sense of why these works are the way they are and what you're doing. And, these are very colourful. The images are always very colourful, and you're noted as a colourist, as an expressionist painter. And that's happening in these books as well, all of them. Where not being able to paint, you were making these amazing little images in this and on a daily basis. But this, there's some very dark images there as well. And you've been looking at Hieronymus Bosch, and there's quite a lot of violence going on in these images.
Yes.
And
earthquake.
There's something there about people and the nature of human behaviour where I think that you make it a far more complicated and kind of claustrophobic subject even. This is a joyful work, but at the same time there's something underlying it, which is this kind of anxiety and unease, and or these images too, very Bosch, but again, something about the very strange nature of human behaviour.
Yeah, they came out quite well. My knife, my pig, and my Barbie doll.
And that's actually another part of it too, isn't it? We've got Barbie dolls, but we've also got medieval manuscripts, and we have classical music, and
rock music.
My Little Pony, and
that's right.
So there's this global culture through all of them, and I always feel like underpinning all of that is this nature of what's about people and the things that we do and the things that we can't understand about what we do.
Yeah.
It's quite irrational as well as compassionate too. You're with those subjects, obviously a great sense of love, but also a curious sort of strangeness about the activities and things going on. That's where I think the Riding in Long Grass is such a great one, with the figure up on the horse and you're with them. And they're not necessarily all that comfortable about being on those horses. They don't feel safe, but at the same time there's a pleasure and a thrill in the ride.
Yeah.
These ones too is a really neat one.
Yeah, the scissors and everything there.
The actual marks coming through from the other side of the paper is really...
Yeah,
that's
and this is what's
really lovely.
You can even feel the way you feel the book.
The paper's great. I shouldn't be touching it.
What makes you want to turn over to the page.
Mm.
So I've already got another whole group ready to start when I can't big paintings and paint out, hopefully. But it was the fact that the earthquake and my feelings.
Well, it's sort of you know, you can't walk away from them thinking this is something about the unpredictability and irrational nature of human behaviour.
Yeah.
But then this wonderful kind of joy of life and being, and
Yeah.
it's all going
Yeah.
on